We open with a completely black screen that slowly fades in the words stress. As those fade, we see a planet. One side, eternal night. The other side, a fiery eternal day. And a thin band that runs around the whole planet where maybe someone could survive temporarily. Our camera follows us down there as 80s music slowly begins to queue up into the familiar sounds of Danger Zone. And in the perpetual, almost dawn of this habitable band, we see a skimmer, an extremely rare ground vehicle that's engine block. The rear exhaust flame can be used as a flamethrower, is so powerful, and a machine gun on the front is blasting its way across the scrabbling hellscape of distress, aka Walked 341, Deep Periphery Planet. As our protagonist aboard this thing is, would you be showboating, or are you just strictly straightforward?
If there's nobody to see him, then he's just straightforward, right? He has the intense look of a young man that's, feels incorrectly disenfranchised, like he's put all this this non-existent social pressure on himself, despite the fact that he lives in the middle of nowhere with no one around.
Yeah.
Even unseen, he has this this drive, this desire to look cool. So not showboating, but giving it the smolder to no one in particular, right?
It looks good on camera,
on his sweet skimmer. Yeah,
it's Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy getting hosed down in the prison level of smolder.
yeah, right. I don't know. I'm not as familiar enough with the vehicle to know like what the seating posture is on it. But if it could be like, like big ape hangers, like up high, like reclined back.
Sure, you could have customized that for
yeah,
sure.
That's what's going on.
I'll send you the default picture. It's like a little thing in the front that's down here. But yeah. I assume you American Choppers, is that the show? Yeah, you American.
Are there any
Chopper,
what's like the what are there any natural inhabitants on this planet? Any animals that he could have like maybe have some like cattle horns like along the side or something?
There are Branth horns, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They're twisted like a goat's.
So, like spirally?
Yeah.
All right, I'm into it. Yeah.
Good. I figured a Texan would be.
Yeah.
At this moment, as you're about to enter, the flatlands gives way to split badlands, almost canyons. Like a dusty Arizona type. You get a message from your recon tank behind you that there is a stealthed vehicle ahead of you. Something is emitting a anti-electronic warfare signal, which is extremely rare on this planet. There's only one person on the whole planet who has this technology. That is the Nighthawk. They're, for you at your speed, they're a minute or two out. For the rest of the convoy, it'll take several minutes for them to catch up.
What do I know about this Nighthawk?
Well, Nighthawk is a mysterious figure. They use a Nighthawk power armor that's barely working anymore. It's been passed down among whoever kills the last one for generations. So it... for those that know, it's like a early version of an elemental suit. But its primary purpose was special forces warfare rather than battlefield engagement. So it has a stealth system on board, not like a visual one, but one that electronically shields it from being detected. The current inhabitant of the Nighthawk armor is the leader of a organization called the Honda Accord, which is a group of families that have come together underneath their leadership to survive and have been doing pretty well. They're kind of like a, I don't want to say like a daycare get-together, but it's like now that these four families are together, they can safely intermix between themselves without any issues, for a generation or two. And that's kind of the whole purpose, is just straight up survival. Nighthawk has always acted, this one at least, as the head and kind of scout of the unit. For them to be ahead of you, they would have to know your path, and this almost certainly is intentional.
Is this like a rival conglomerate to my own?
Well, anyone could attack you at any time, but it would be crazy for someone in power armor to attack a battle mech family like yourself, even if it is a busted up Franken-mech. And more importantly, you do have the only working electronic warfare sensor on the planet that could possibly detect them coming.
Okay. The Honda Accord.
Thank you.
Amazing. Legendary reliability. This Accord. Yeah, I think like all pretend badasses, when they encounter a real badass, is probably like slams on the brakes, right? And like stops immediately where he's at.
Huge wave of cold sandy dust goes flying.
Yeah, totally.
Small racks everywhere.
Yeah.
The flame on the end of your jet immediately shoots down like several meters.
Right, for sure. And just kind of like is just sort of frozen in his tracks for a moment while he tries to decide what sort of mortal danger he may or may not be in, and how to make it look like he's not in any danger and he's totally in control of the situation. But he's not not savvy enough to do that instantaneously. So he's shell shocked for a moment at this signal that he's got coming in.
Jim, you're sending the signal up to Dex. He's not responding. In fact, he stopped moving.
Jim probably radio over to him and be like, "Hey Dex, you doing okay over there, man? This strange signal's coming through, and I just want to make sure you're not too shook up."
What? No, I'm just shut up. And he starts going again.
Good copy.
Gabe,
much slower now.
Gabe, you've been listening to all this. This is your responsibility. Everything that happens here, you're in charge. All these people, their lives depend on you. Settled in front of you is, of course, the precious J-27 ordnance truck that has been horrifyingly ripped apart and turned into a massive water purifier. And in front of that is a series of RVs slapped together into a massive 24-wheeler, 3-wide trailer APC, where your family and all of their, all the other families that make up your unit work, eat, live, sleep. And, you hear your other crewmates, your tank crewmates up front messing around.
Yeah, do I have any signal on my mech sensors? I know they're pretty old.
You're picking up whatever the Beagle sends you as well, so Jim is probably transmitting to you that there is a stealth unit ahead of you at the edge of sensor range.
Gotcha. And we know who this is because they're the only one.
The only one. It is the Nighthawk.
That's them Hondas again, huh?
Yeah, guys up front playing Batman.
I just imagine you saying that and your character looking like you, and there's like a hot mug of something next to you as your horrible janky mech is moving like this. We see a little steam. You're like, Zem Honda's again. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly how I imagine this going.
Sloshing hot liquid.
Why don't you tell me about this mech that you designed? Because I loved your description of it.
I could just read the description.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a Sentinel. He's been around for years. He's got, the biggest deal on this mech is his right arm, fully functional arm, which comes in huge for the workforce and the family. I mean, that J-27, it's awful, man. It doesn't have all-wheel drive. It gets stuck all the time. Water tanks are always busting off, and having that hand's real helpful. And then as far as an armament, I mean, we still got the small laser, which helps to deter infantry. And SRMs I don't use too much because they're a little hard to come by. There's not a lot of SRM manufacturing going on around here. Maybe every once in a while when we get to talk to the undergrounds. But the AC2's been there forever. It still shoots straight. Targeting computer's a little rusty, but if I'm aiming the right spot, it's going to go there. And then I don't really want to get into the cicada leg that we put on here. Let's just say a little poor piloting put me in a bad spot, and thus the hitch in the step with the one reverse canted leg and the other forward canted leg.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna have to buy parts and build this thing now.
As the track danger zone fades off, you approach at a cautious wake speed. Dexter, you see the Nighthawk seated on a rock with a rifle laid over their knees, kind of angled towards you, but not directly towards you. And the weapon is pointed away from you, elbows on the knees. So the weapon is, not easily accessed. They turn their head to acknowledge that they see you and then look back ahead again.
How far am I from this person?
As far as you want to be.
Okay. I feel like I'm far enough away to where I'm looking through binoculars
Okay.
to see them.
So when you see that, you notice that the Nighthawk's, powered armor, light helmet does the same thing to you. Like it definitely electronically zooms in as they turn. They acknowledge that they've detected you.
I mumble to myself, "So cool," but accidentally comms are open as well. and then I'll go to turn the comms on to talk, but see that I'm turning them off. I was like, shit. I'll turn them back on, and I'll be like, okay, he's up front. He's watching us. What do you want to do?
That's probably that's got to be Jasper again in that suit.
I think he wants to talk.
Which one of us has the working comms?
So as you're all talking, a woman's voice cuts over and says, I can hear you,
Yeah, we knew that. What do you want?
Face to face.
Does face to face include battle armor?
No. Market, 2 days' time. Northeast of here. My people will be there. If your people are there too, I know that you're serious. I have a way off this rock, but we need each other's help to do it.
For how many?
You got the same numbers you always do?
Maybe.
All
Didn't
of
know you were counting
all
us.
of us.
All right. We'll see you there.
Okay. So she still sits there, but you hear her send out a comms saying, all right, they're in. Come pick me up. And at the edge of the Beagle's sensor system, you pick up a convoy of 8, off-road vehicles beginning to approach. It's going to be a long time before they arrive. They are not as fast as the Beagle or the Skimmer.
The coolness factor wanes a little bit.
Yeah, slightly.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I feel like my character's Dexter, his pecking order in this group is fairly low. So he probably knows that he's just waiting for the adults to tell him which direction to go around with this whole business. And it's his job to drive in front and see things. And that's pretty much it. So he's just kind of awaiting instructions, how do the grownups want to proceed? He's a young man in his late teens, early 20s, probably. So he's he's not the whipping child of the group, but he's definitely like the intern level, like job assignments is kind of what he gets. So he's waiting for someone to tell him what to do, and he's trying to think of something snarky to say when they tell him what to do. But he'll probably have nothing by the time they tell him what to do.
I could tell that you used to teach children.
Yeah. His wheels are turning.
So
All right,
you want to
Dex.
say something?
Which direction we heading, bud?
He doesn't even respond. It just takes off. He just starts going again. Right? Like there's a long pause
Goddamn kids.
where like there's going to be a response, and he can't think of anything sufficiently smart alecky to say. So he just like kind of hooks to the left to circumnavigate this pickup that's happening in front of us.
Okay.
Probably radio over to our mech here, to Gabe, and be like, "Hey, does Dex know the way to market?"
No, we just adopted him
Yeah.
a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't let him lead the way.
I mean, he's not bad in the skimmer, but I wanted to give him a chance to figure it out. Yeah, we should be heading north. We're going to set up east of the market.
All right. So, welcome to Cattletech, episode 1, part 1. Friends, let's do some quick introductions after our bond cold open. Rad, who are you and who are you playing?
I'm Raddosaurus. I'm playing Dexter, the apparent orphan. He's the way I described it to Arthur is that he's like Luke Skywalker, except if Luke Skywalker was kind of a punk and never got to leave and go on a big adventure and was just kind of always a moisture farmer. So that's kind of the setup for him. But yeah, I've played with Arthur for years now, and I'm excited to be back working on a project with him for the first time in a while. I've been adulting, which takes up a lot of time. So
You did the logo for this show, the Cattletech logo.
I did.
Years ago.
yeah, when this show was still a joke. Yeah,
It was it was never a joke. I was always going to do it.
I did a
just didn't
logo
think
to
it'd be
will
called
it into
Cattletech.
existence. Yeah.
Don't
No,
worry,
yeah.
there will be the Cattlemaster episode where everybody plays cowpokes.
Arthur kind of came up with this idea, like I said, a couple of years ago, and I've sort of always egged him on since then. I put the bug in his ear about the episode from what is
Netflix,
it?
Love, Death, and Robots.
Love, Death, and Robots, the Netflix show. There's a short in the first season that kind of inspired my mental image of what a periphery Battletech game could look like.
I mean, Sidious here basically is 100% pulling that look off right now. I just imagine it's him in the cockpit of this horrifying Frankenmech, just sipping, taking a look on sensors every once in a while.
It's pretty perfect, yeah.
Watching Dex draw dicks on the radar map.
Yeah.
In the sand.
Well, speaking of Sidious, let's talk to you, our extraordinary map maker. You've been contributing for a long time. First time talking to you. Well,
Yeah.
literally met minutes before we started the show. Welcome. Who are you, and who are you playing?
Thanks. Well, I've been in the Mech Warrior universe for a while. Started with Mech Warrior 4. So not as early as some, but I've really gotten into it in the last decade or so. And finding tabletop, I got really into the maps. Started making some straight from the books, and a few just for fun, and a few for Arthur. And having a good time playing Gabe. Gabe's our Sentinel mech pilot, he's the oldest brother in the family, so he's in his 40s actually. So he's an uncle too. Like you said, he kind of worked with, brought in Dex to the family after I think, our families were pretty close, but they got hit with a raid, which was real sad. But we took them in like one of our own.
Okay. Neobuzzard, who are you? Who are you playing?
I'm Neobuzzard. Pleasure to meet all of you for the first time. I'm playing Jim Hawkin. My introduction to the Battletech universe was around Mech Assault, and a bunch of friends told me there was a Clicks game about it, and so we got into that.
You follow a dark path.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm a Clicks guy.
yeah, but then that got me into the Mech Warrior franchise, and then following that, I found a hobby store that played classic Battletech, but they used the Clicks minis and expanded everything out to inches rules, and it was pretty much just a dark path for wargaming after that I'm sure my wife very much regrets.
You're our minis guy. You do all the staged minis for Oath of Endosteel.
Yep. I want to apologize to Rad because I wanted to do some for a Time of Total Warfare, and I just never got around to it because most everyone swapped mechs so fast.
Yes.
I would go broke if I tried to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I do have a king crab sitting aside just so I can figure out what to do with it. But
Nice.
What's that? Half a Devastator over and over again as Pondo got in and out of it. Sorry, I talked over you.
You're good. You're good. I used to paint on commission, and now my hands shake, and I don't really do too many commissions anymore. Some people, if they hit me up, I might do something for them. But
perfect. They can get a hold of you on the Discord then.
Yep, they can find me on Discord. I'm usually hanging out in your Discord, lurking, watching, reading everyone's stuff.
Okay, good. I want to mention Sidious. You said that you were a Mech Warrior 4 entrant to the series.
Yeah, that was my intro.
You play Mercenaries?
Oh yeah.
Did you watch today's Solaris Knights? I don't want to spoil anything, but
Today's no.
okay, you'll like it. I think.
Which map did you play on?
Don't worry about the map. It's not about the map.
It's always about the map.
Oh, it's not about the map. Not this episode. We're only going to play on the jungle from now on. Yeah, we find your characters transversing. So we get the montage travel scene of like your vehicles all moving in close quarters together. Someone coming out to keep a watch while people are sleeping. But in every single scene, the sky looks exactly the same because it's always that false dawn of the sun just beyond the horizon. If you were to not move and stay here for 3 or 4 days, that sun would rise and a firestorm would follow. But if you were to get too far ahead, you'd freeze as you fell too far into the deepness of night. The tricky business living here on Distress. Is there anything you want to do, or any wisecracking jokes, any scenes you want to have before you arrive at the market? Okay. So the market is set underneath of a almost mind-numbingly huge land bridge overpass. Not natural, entirely out of reddish orange stone turned almost purple in the twilight, or whatever you call the opposite of twilight. What do you call the morning twilight?
Dawn.
The dawning. All right, astronomers, hit me up. You'll know what I'm supposed to say. The market seems to have hundreds of people gathered. Their vehicles moving around a central location to form a kind of wall to let people on the inside feel a little bit safer. That said, almost everybody there carries a weapon, and they have the look of nervous, paranoid people. Hands close to weapons at all times. Everyone knows that if something goes down, it's going to be crazy. Somebody's going to overreact. Shooting's going to start happening. When someone starts shooting, everybody starts shooting. There are markets that have gone real bad in the past. The most active place is on the far eastern side, where the food trucks that move at the front end of the skyline. So on this planet, most of the vegetation here is frozen at night, and then when the daytime-ish area that you are in comes by, the plants unfreeze and they pop and unfurl very quickly into something like a kudzu cabbage, which is slightly toxic and has to be processed into like a bunch of shredded lettuce. And so there are trucks that go up front and, you know, get ahead of anybody else, including their competition, scoop the stuff off the ground, process it inside these massive trucks using as many laborers as possible, then come back and sell it at the best price they can get at these markets. So right now there's only one truck, so they are making absolute bank. But when you guys roll up, people who are interested in getting pure water, not just, you know, the groundwater you get around here, which again doesn't taste right, slightly toxic, too many metals, you guys roll up with the good stuff, and your families begin offloading the water, including your wife and sister. I realized I didn't turn that right. Sorry. It is Gabe's sister, Jim Hawkins' wife, which is how they're related. She begins handling the selling of the water to as many people as possible. Now, it doesn't look like the Honda Accord have arrived yet. They, as you've already seen, they have a convoy of off-road vehicles, and their main transports are like lots of SUVs. Very Mad Max-ish of them.
They're very efficient, very fuel efficient, reliable.
They're all CRVs, and they're hybrid electric vehicles in order to maximize their returns.
Yeah.
I just imagined a battle armor suit riding around in the back of a Jeep Wrangler.
Yes, that's basically what's happening. Yeah. As you all spread out among the market and pick up whatever you need personally, Gabe, someone wraps a very frail arm around your neck, and you catch a flash of something sharp and metallic in their other hand as they tremble and try to hold you in place. But you're a little bit taller than them, and you're a lot stronger than them. And they go, "Don't move." As a woman's voice, hand shaking, knife glinting off of the torchlight nearby.
Somebody's grandma's trying to get you.
What do you do?
Well, sensing I could overpower this person pretty easily, I don't make any quick movements, and also sensing their hesitancy and seemingly unused to being in this position, I talk to them first.
Okay.
My left hand's already hovering over my slug thrower, but I'm not pulling it. And so I just ask, "What do you want?"
Come back into the alley with me. I don't want to have this conversation in public. You can tell that their throat is they're having trouble talking a little bit. A little dry, a little raspy.
All right. Is anyone there with me?
You're not a stupid man. If you get taken into a back alley somewhere, you're never going to be seen again.
Yeah. Is there anyone out on the street with me?
It's a great question. Is there? I want to leave that up to you and the rest of the cast. If anybody would have accompanied you, or maybe is nearby, or I don't know.
So
Dex runs off on his own looking for candy.
Dex runs off almost immediately.
So I gotta ask a question here. Is you mentioned it's a market?
Yeah.
Would there be anything like a street vendor, like a street food vendor, or like a food truck?
Oh yeah, of course. So these are people who like capture the very rare animals on this planet and resell meat and stuff like that. That's small scale, you know. It takes
I'm
a
talking
really
like a truck I can go get like a Philly cheese from or something.
Yeah. I don't think Philly cheese is in the cards for you, but you know, like a hot dog bun filled with shaved beef and a dark brown sauce that tastes a lot like soy.
Yeah, something like that. Just normal street food. I'd probably be walking back with a boatload of street food, and if I had been able to find Dex, I'd have him in tow carrying extra food for the rest of the family that's currently trying to sell water.
Dex, are you found?
Yeah, I'll be walking behind Jim with a big old I don't know,
love that.
stacks
The
of
hot
rations or
dogs.
whatever. Yeah. They made it back. It always comes back to the hot dogs.
So I'm thinking we wouldn't go anywhere alone. I think that's a rule for the market.
So
But I can see where Gabe would have been in the back of the line of the three of us.
two of you have a
Almost half.
huge bunch of. Sounds like Dex is responsibly carrying rations and maybe one hot dog in his hand that he's eating.
Reluctantly. Yeah.
One hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like a cigar. And Jim, you're carrying a whole bunch of delicious street foods that, you know, are a somewhat forbidden delight only really on market days and only when you've got a good amount of water and a good amount of cellars. Your wife might have something to say about this extravagance, but you know, the kids love this
it's
stuff.
mainly for her. If I know anything about women, it's they love street food vendors.
The two of you spot Gabe. There is a woman in a brown leather cloak that's somewhat tattered and fading. That's directly behind him. Her withered and like stretched way too tight arms are trying to hold him in place, and it's clear that he could physically overpower her at any moment. She does, however, have a sharp scrap of metal, some junk she probably picked up off the ground, that could hurt him for real, in her other hand. She's trying to get him to walk backwards, and he is moving his hand towards his gun.
I think Jim would look at him and say, "Man, with all due respect, the food I'm carrying is worth more than you. So please let him go before I have to drop this food so I can drop you."
Dex is like, yeah, and he drops all of his rations on the ground and attempts to like unholster his gun. Was like, drop it, lady, but it kind of gets like hung up, and he's just kind of stuck there.
I feel like in
for
the background,
a few minutes.
so some guy just like grabs two of your rations casually and walks
just
off while
takes
no
off with
one's
them.
looking. Yeah. The woman just says, "Look, all I want is the water, okay? Just give me the water and we're good, all right? I don't want to have to hurt anybody." And she coughs twice. Right on the back, like the side of your face. Yes.
Right here.
It's a dry cough. There's very little spittle in it.
Well, that's good.
Bonus.
Don't know if that
All
makes
right.
it any better.
While she's talking to you two, I give her just a quick elbow and make some distance. I get like
Sure.
2 steps out.
This is a great time to roll 2d6 and let's see what you get. You got a favorite dice pool here now that we've got the Towers of Terror?
Yeah. Forgot that we're on Tabletop Simulator. Here I'm fishing around for dice.
Oh, no. We don't do real life rolling. We're not savages. So if you're rolling on Tabletop Simulator, remember to press R twice so that you get 2 different directions of movement. Otherwise, it'll just roll in one direction and it'll only be on one side of the die.
I usually press R like 6 times. Is that
Good
all right?
enough. Well, more than good enough. You get all kinds of create. Look at that. That's a solid roll right there
7.
with a solid result. Okay, so you get a slight scratch on your arm, and you know, it's not like anybody's handing out tetanus shots out here, antibacterials regularly. You're going to have to speak to somebody who works with chemicals to get that treated.
I'll just go burn it.
Yeah, maybe some hooch and a quick cauterization. As you push her away, you just try to get some distance, but she collapses onto the ground. The knife with a brilliant streak of blood on it goes, into the dust, where the blood immediately gets sucked up by the dust and is super dry. She's just collapsed, frail. No, don't hurt me. What do you all do? Someone nearby starts clapping, like, yeah, you show that dirty thief.
I think I would leave that up to Gabe because I wasn't the one with a knife pressed to my throat. Once I see that he's safe, I'd start walking out.
I feel like Dex is still working his gun out of the holster in the background.
All right, Dex. I think we're good. We'll just grab our stuff and leave without saying anything else.
Okay.
This is, I feel like this kind of occurrence is relatively common.
It's unusual for you to be targeted as the mech warrior, though. Like,
She
people
may
know
not
that you're
know.
hands off, but it doesn't seem like she knew, which again is also unusual.
Yeah.
Must be an outsider. You get word that the Honda Accord are just a few miles out, but your market sales are done, and you get to pick 3 of the 5 following options. And while this is happening, another 80s track starts playing. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, as we get the 3 of you looking over these 5 products. With the leftover money you have for luxuries, you can get advanced electronics from a genius prodigy named Cryptor, who just earned his freedom from one of the terrestrial prisons. That'll get your advanced targeting computer running again and get you 2 loads of SRM ammo from those electronics. Or you can get luxury items like toys, books, news from afar, interesting puzzles, a small amount of meat and real fruit, a fusion chamber to repair the Beagle and bring it back up to full speed, because currently it's a little broken, and 1 Swiftwind scout car, electronics mostly intact, cargo bay fully functional, no warranty, no door, no operational air conditioning, no questions asked, and no returns.
And the guy selling the scout car has a brown suit jacket. A little piece of wood sticking out of his mouth.
He says, "I know what I have."
Don't lowball me.
Yeah.
And we get to pick what, one of these things?
You get to pick 3 of the 5. So, advanced electronics, luxury items, a small amount of meat and fruit, fusion chamber, or the Swiftwind scout car. What's most important to the 3 of you?
And
I
the
would
family.
definitely,
And the family, of course, yeah.
I would definitely lean towards the extra reloads for the SRM ammo. I think that's definitely something we should pick up. I mean, that's too nice, tasty of a resource for us not to take.
Especially because you don't have any SRM ammo to start with.
And a targeting computer, which right now we're pretty much just point and shoot.
Yeah, anything we can do to make the battle mech more lethal sounds like a good option.
I'll vote in favor of the electronics as one.
What are you thinking, Rad?
No, I think I would want the scout car because he envisions, for no particular reason, that for somehow it would be his, even though it wouldn't be. That's how he pictures it, right? Like, obviously.
Well, the nice part about the scout car is it has a crew of 1, but it's got a lot of cargo space in the back. You could literally live in just this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like a full vehicle you could live your whole life in.
But he's having like he's having like a character moment as he looks at it, because he's like, this would really improve the quality of my life if I had a car instead of a bike. Because he's probably like, he's got like his goggles on his forehead because he's constantly covered in like, dust and stuff. So he's like, this would be a sweet upgrade. But he's also kind of internally struggling with, this would be another thing that would tie me to this place. And I don't want this place to be the rest of my life. Like, I want off, right? Like when the Nighthawk was like, we're going to get off this planet, I think like his heart internally soared a little bit. So like, he's kind of torn between like, I could make my life better here, but also I don't want to be here. So he probably is just emotionally constipated right now and can't make a decision on anything. So he's just kind of standing there, like awkwardly rubbing a steering wheel or something like that.
The guy
like lost in thought.
selling it takes the stick out of his mouth, says, "Looks good, right, son?" Call it the weasel filk. Yeah, 162
takes his hand
kilometers
off
an
of it.
hour, unloaded. 6 wheels, radio tires, independent suspension. Got a neuro helmet. You know what that is? It's what those mech warriors use up there.
I know what a neuro helmet is.
Well, good. Did you know that you can take it out of the vehicle and remotely control it with your mind and audio commands from over a kilometer away?
His eyes get big, but he says, yeah, of course I knew that.
You seem like a real discerning customer. Let me show you to the selling point back here. And the side of the vehicle, as the huge satellite system comes out of the back, and he says, when fully unfolded, you've got 500 kilograms cargo space back there. Live your whole life in this baby. He slaps the rear tire. You can fit a lot of stuff back here. You seem like a man who likes stuff.
All he can do is just kind of nod.
The sensor tower begins to slowly whir. It's all very fancy.
He's like, he just kind of echoes, right? Like, I could spend my whole life here.
You see that both in the cockpit and in the electronic control system in the back, a 3D holographic map is being made of the surrounding area as the Swiftwind scout car begins pulling in data and automatically identifying targets. Like your convoy and all of the other convoys are being picked out on this map, so it can tell like who's where. It's trying to identify FF, but of course nobody really uses that system. No one has that. So it's all just listed as unknown contact.
I think all that is very impressive, but in his head, he's just hearing over and over again, you could spend your whole life in here. And I think at that point, he's just kind of like, he walks back over, to Gabe, and he's like, I think we should just like get the food or something. I think the guy unintentionally waved him off. Yeah. Yeah.
Gabe whistled at it over his shoulder and was like, wow, you could fit your whole life in there.
Maybe he's
guy comes up to you and says, that's what I said.
Maybe you could, and he walks off.
Say, great weather we're having. Cold enough for you? So we've got advanced electronics and maybe not a not vote for the scout car.
I feel like Dex doesn't really get a vote, or at least he doesn't think that he gets a vote here.
But the player gets the vote. You guys are voting as
sure.
players.
And then I definitely think we need to take the supplies, right? The ammunition and the targeting computer for sure. I think we probably should take the scout car.
We got the skimmer. She's running.
That's true. I mean, who else do we put in it really? What were the other options? The
movement profile
reactor
for this, this motorcycle.
I would do the fusion chamber for the Beagle.
Fusion chamber, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
that
safe.
Beagle's seen better days.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Tired of watching that smoke rolling Beagle bump along. Having to pick it up every now and then.
Beagle just moved from a 10-15 to a 12-18.
Every time you got to turn the Beagle on, you gotta sit there and jiggle the key a little bit.
Hope it lifts off.
Just the right amount of gas. Too much and you flood it.
For the folks at home, by the way, the skimmer is a 1726 hovercraft.
Good Lord.
With 1/2 ton of armor.
And it runs great.
Yeah. It runs so good that its engine, its rear exhaust, acts as a flamethrower that leaps 90 meters. So...
I mean, it's a little rich in the fuel, but
just gotta keep the NOS out of that, or you're gonna burn it.
Real handy when held by the Sentinel.
I think the third thing we should take, if we want to think about the family, I think would be the fresh fruits. Fresh fruit sounds like a luxury, and
I see, but not the luxury items like toys, books, puzzles, news. You would rather get temporary but delicious items like real meat and fruit.
I mean, I can build a toy out of those scrap parts. AP, I'm gonna assume it's safe to say that you don't have a kid.
It's true. I don't have a kid. I've been real clear on that too.
And when my daughter was 3, she got hours of enjoyment, days of enjoyment even, out of a binder I had for cable management that was supposed to go behind my computer that she got to before I could put it on. So I feel like toys are non-essential right now.
Very well.
Yeah, get the nutrition, meat and fruit.
Yes.
Okay. You leave a Swiftwind scout car and a collection of luxury items behind while you bring in several dozen pounds of real meat from Brant and other hardy super predators that are the only thing that can survive out here. And, you know, like a bushel of apples. 1 bushel with some bananas thrown in. Thrown in a, like a contained truck that uses your water. You know, like you sell them water and they sell you back fruit.
Like a mobile greenhouse.
Yeah, exactly. It has to hang way far back, like right at the sun line in order to get enough ultraviolet radiation to get those suckers cooking. It's rough. It's a rough life. And then they have to speed up to get to the front of the sun line in order to get back here. Sorry, to the night line in order to make it to the markets. So it's a rough life. They charge a lot for them.
I was going to say, what kind of shit detail is driving the tree truck?
Yeah, it's not great. You know, it's probably like one family, like 3 or 4 people, you know, and this is their whole life is fall back, wait for the sun to catch up, then zoom forward, pick up more water, sell your fruits. Just try your best to live and not go crazy. The Nighthawk signals to you all right about the time you're done shopping. Crazy how that works out. That the Honda Accord is ready to meet with you.
So this is post-market?
Well, market's still going on, but, you know, you've got your shopping done. They've got their shopping done.
Everything's back at the convoy, all of our stuff.
Sure.
Is it just the 3 of us going to go meet with the Nighthawk, or are there like some senior members in the family that are going to come with us?
You tell me.
I think, yeah, I mean, we could bring, say, my dad. Just call him Dad. Because he's like the head.
Name is, so you just call him
Yeah,
Dad.
I was going to call him Arthur. I was like, we got too many Arthurs.
Yeah, there are too many Arthurs out there.
Jerry. How about Jerry?
Okay.
All right, my dad, Jerry. Because he's kind of the head of the family. So anything related to like big stuff like getting off planet, you know, it's his call, right? This is all his business.
Okay. Bring your sister.
No, in case you should stay. She's got the kid.
Jim, is your wife going to take that?
I mean, someone's got to stay with the kid.
Boy.
So that's the unfortunate circumstance. Someone has
So
to
you say that, and then we cut to her with you guys, and then Dex sitting with a kid, like having something thrown at his face or something.
A pillow. It bounces off.
Yeah.
One of the kids is like, I'm Wolf's Dragoons and you're the pirate. Ah.
Yeah.
I would absolutely explain to her that while
No, I'm going to say this is a conversation and you guys have had, and she's not hesitant to do this. I'm making it a bigger thing because I like stirring shit. But yeah, she will absolutely protect the family.
Okay.
She knows what to do if you guys don't come back.
Gotcha. I would have a talk with her beforehand, let her know where I was going.
Yeah. Go into a secret clandestine meeting to get off the planet. Yep. Definitely something you want to talk to your wife about before you do it. Take note, Oath of Andosteel, guys. This is how you do it. You mention it to your wife before you do it.
Lachlan, sorry.
Yeah, no, not just Lachlan, Kuro. His wife was like, "You're lying to me all the time." He's like, "No, I'm not." She's like, "Where have you been?" And he's like, "I can't tell you."
And he's like, "What do you mean we have a bad relationship?"
And could he not have just come at her with like an NDA or something?
Yeah,
Like, I'll tell
it's
you
classified.
everything, but legally you can't say anything about it after.
Yeah. As you approach the Nighthawks encampment, the Honda Accord area, the Boys Are Back in Town starts playing. And, it's a bunch of biker leathered men and women on like ATVs and off-road vehicles that are clearly the guardians of the rest of the convoy. And then like a lot of young people. These four families that have formed the Honda Accord are like parents in their early 20s, and they already have like 4 or 5 kids each. It's very, very clearly a tight-knit group. The Nighthawk takes her helmet off. She looks pretty different from what you remember, because you remember the Nighthawk being a guy. So, and the helmet is very Mandalorian. It's got, the Boba Fett visor swoopy thingy up here. She pulls it off, and she looks like she's maybe Aboriginal Australian. And she says, "Nice to meet you. I'm the Nighthawk. Let's talk." She starts making a gesture, and 2 of her cool rad dudes unfold a plastic table in front of her and like unfold a chair for her to sit on, and then much more slowly begin bringing like camping seats for the 3 of you to sit on. Sorry, 4 of you, since your dad Jerry is here. They seat him in front and the 3 of you behind and beside him. Mm-hmm. You see what looks to be some sort of dropship, and she says, "It's a Leopard class. Recognize that styling anywhere. It's been moving across the planet in the south. Been getting a lot of intel about it. If it's been following the same pattern it has been, they're hitting the underground terrestrial prisons, taking out the Wallers. It's going to be up here. A few days. We can catch it nightside. 4 mechs on board. They all deploy in 1s and 2s. We can catch it. Nothing on board. Vehicle like that. Couple months worth of rations. Looks to be in pretty good repair. You can live on that thing. Easily escape Atmo. Now, I don't know what's up there. Can we take a jump ship? That's a question for us to do when we've got the sensors to get it. But even if we have to stay on planet, fusion engine pushing all of our vehicles inside, perfectly safe with the weapons array that it's got on it. The facilities, water reclamation. This could be our life. This could be a lifeline. But even if it doesn't get us out of system, it lets us stay ahead of the sun. It lets us reprocess. There's got to be a garden on board. We could make our own food. We don't just have to scrap for whatever we can pick up. And she gestures to one of her guys, and he's like, "I am tired of having to deal with people trying to kill me. Honestly, I could use a few 100 tons of armor wrapped around me at night." Jerry just looks at it and goes, "Huh." Tries to look at all of you with a like, no bullshit. Like, He's not sold, but.
What's the Honda Accord bringing to the table to get this dropship?
Yeah. We don't have any way of, forcing our way on board. You got the mech, you got the tanks. We've got electronic disruption systems. I mean, I think you already know about my armor. That'll let me get real close and on board, but I'm just one person. could be 6, 7 crewmen on board, and all it takes is one guy on the bridge to lock the doors. I'm not exactly rolling around with a lot of explosives, but you got that SRM launcher, which I bet means you've got SRMs. One of those missiles open a door up real quick, used right. More importantly, me and my boys have been working on making chaff, electronic warfare stuff. You agree to it? Agree to this plan? My guys are going to ride around it at max range, blowing chaff all over the place, confusing them. Maybe the guys on board get scared. Maybe they get confused, but at the very least, we're going to create a cloud of confusion, get their attention looking in one way while you hit the mech bay from the other direction. Force your way on board. We'll try to run under the guns at that point, get everybody on board, take the engineering room, take the bridge. She holds up her rifle. Do what we need to survive.
I got a couple of questions here. Do you know anyone, or are you capable of flying a leopard?
So she whistles, and a young man steps forward. Looks like maybe he's around Dex's age. He's got the attempt to do a mustache, the 16, 17, 18-year-old trying to do mustache hasn't really come in yet. Looks like a butt or a peach fuzz. He goes, yeah, I got some fair idea how to fly, I got a flight simulator program I've been running in the back of the SUV for a couple of years. I think I can get us up in the air. And, maybe we just hold a gun to the pilot's head, right? He turns to look at Dexter like you're going to back him up on this, We'll just threaten to put a round through his head, Real tough. Yeah, he does it too, but he does it with an actual gun.
Yeah. I turned to my two guys. I'm like, I think we'd be stupid not to do it, honestly.
I love that you say that.
Gabe's just doing the slow nod as he's talking.
I think he says it more to Jim than anything. Like, I feel like Gabe is kind of he's the authority figure. So like Dex probably gives him the most shit, and Jim's the only one that he kind of listens to, right? Like, because he's cool, he drives a tank, right? So like he gets cool points for that.
Obviously.
Yeah.
A really fast tank too.
Gabe just, I don't know, pilots some weird piece of shit, like a robot.
Sure,
like you can't relate to that.
Thinks he's all cool. Thinks he's a mech warrior.
That's the thing.
And he's old. He's over 35. He's dead to me. Like,
we know that he's got the one really strong arm, and we haven't mentioned it yet, but Sidious took the SPA heavy lifter so he can pick up twice more stuff than normal. Yeah. So he spends the mech basically acts like a worker mech, doing all of the water purification, pulling the hoses out, doing the pumping and all that stuff. So for you, this giant war machine probably has never seen service with ACs firing and lasers.
Well, with the two wonky legs,
one forward,
it could never look cool, so therefore is garbage, right?
Mind you, it's the two wonky legs because of Gabe.
Yeah.
Yep. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah. No.
So let me get this straight.
Jerry turns back while you're about to talk, and he says, "A lot of risk.
Worth it."
I think what was his name again? Jerry?
Jerry.
The Slows are dead. Okay. I think Jerry, for a chance for your grandkids to have a better life, I think it might be worth it.
All right. You know what? You marry my daughter, you think you can talk to me like that? Hold your horses there. Gabe, what do you think, son?
Jesus, Jim.
Hell, when was the last time we saw a dropship on distress?
Yeah,
my point exactly.
He goes, boy, I don't know. Martin Sheen threatens to kick his ass as he says that.
Dex is just never. It's been never. We'll never have this opportunity again.
All right,
We've never had it before.
Calm down. But you're right, it hasn't happened in your lifetime.
I mean, hell, Dad, you want to die on distress? Or you want to hit the stars? Maybe.
As good a place to die as any. I feel like I will be dying if we go ahead with this plan, but...
And think of it like this: we get the dropship. We don't have to live on planet anymore. We can just F off into orbit, and whenever we need supplies, come down to the...
Yeah, where are you going to get those supplies? Where are you going to get that oxygen? Sure, you might be able to pick up fusion plant stuff, but water, oxygen, food, ammunition.
We can also, with that leopard, we could hang out in the night side. Cold doesn't matter.
I think he pulls out like a very rare cigar, and he looks like he's gonna light it, but you know he's been pulling this cigar out for 2 decades, never lit it, you know, can't afford to smoke it, and looks at the Nighthawk and says, "Flying's one thing. What about repairs? What about operations? What about division of labor? Who lives where and does what? Who's the captain?" And the Nighthawk turns to look at you, Gabe. Like a little test of wills here, a little battle.
Just lean back in my chair, rubbing my manly stubble.
She, gestures over her shoulder where she clearly has more people who rely on her than you have people that rely on you.
Now, that's a very hard question to answer, isn't it?
You're a technical man, Gabe. Keep that thing running, you and your tanks. Could use a chief engineer.
Dex and Jim, we do all right.
Could use an engineering section.
Sure, but you're going to need parts for that leopard.
Yeah, your dad's right. You are going to need parts for that leopard. Bet you we find those parts on a jump ship.
Sure. But how often's a jump ship out here in the periphery?
Well, someone
I mean,
left
this
that
is the
drop
first
ship
drop
here.
ship.
Someone left that dropship here with a mission.
Yeah.
You don't just hit those places just because you want to hit those places. They're collecting things. That thing's going to be full of booty. We go up, we see who the ship belongs to. Maybe we do the old Wookiee prisoner. Come back, claim that we're... I thought you'd like that one, right?
The old get help.
Yeah. I don't think that works in this case, but yeah.
No, probably not.
We pretend we're still the same crew, keep the pilot alive, kill everybody else, have the pilot say he needs to come back in to do a drop off. Take the jump ship, same way we take the drop ship, just rush him. No way a ship like that came here alone, just left. They aren't setting up to be kings. These guys are killers. They're leaving burning wrecks behind them.
So you talking about doing this all in one off burn from the planet? Leopard only takes a crew of 9. You
we
got
get up
what?
there.
45?
Mech bay's pretty big, 2 fighter bays up front. Plenty of space for people to live. We stick your mech in there. Stick as many of your tanks, and I can leave some ATVs behind if we gotta, They just using gas at this point.
Dex's eyes get real big at fighter bays. I feel like that's his aspiration, right? Is to be a pilot. I just decided that right now.
Man,
with the words
just
fighter
decided
bays.
he wants to become a lamb pilot.
He's like fighter bays, and he sees himself on the skimmer, and then that image
In a
transitions
spacesuit,
transitions to him in like an aerospace fighter. He's like, yes, now I know what my life is all about. I just based on those words alone, my ambition has taken form.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, you're assuming those fighter bays are empty.
You're right, I am. We haven't seen anything going in or out of them, but I'll tell you what, if they're full, that's not bad for us. It's going to be a lot easier to hit targets with 2 fighters on board.
Except for the fact when we attack the leopard, we are the targets.
Sure, but I mean, between you and me, I think we already know combat vehicles take a long time to deploy, and I'm going to bet fighters take a little bit more time than an ATV. We move fast, very fast with surprise. We take them before the fighters launch.
Yeah, and I don't know how well they'll launch from atmosphere, especially sitting on the ground.
Yep. I see we're on the same page.
How many other mech families you talk to about this?
Nobody. You're the only ones we think can pull it off.
What makes you think that?
Because you're the only one small enough to fit on the dropship with us. You're the only one with a mech and enough firepower to do this. Look, what I haven't said is they're probably going to close the dropship doors, which means somebody's got to get them open. And those things are not like the interior doors. They're armored. 2 or 3 SRMs are not going to cut it there. We have to use your mech's arm to pop it open. You got the guts. You're the only one. Jim just turns, gives you that look of father praising his son to see if he does have what it takes to pull this plan off. This crazy cockamamie plan, bunch of, bikers set up in their spare time.
It's just crazy enough to work.
Just crazy enough to work. Play, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just wants to check your resolve and see if you think you can pull it off, if you think it's a good idea.
Well, shit, we got nothing else to do, right?
All right. Turns to look at you, Jim Hawkin, and says, if my wife were here, what would she say? If your wife, my daughter, there we go. If my daughter was here, what would she say?
She'd probably say, I'm not the one making this decision. Why are you asking me questions? Stop asking me questions.
Fine, Jim. What the hell would you say? Useless.
Well, I guess I'm with Gabe on this one. Don't really have a much better option.
I don't know that you've talked to Jerry a lot, Dexter, but he pins you with a stare that is worldly and wise and grandfatherly in a way that you've really never had. He says, what about you, kid? You in?
This is the best idea I've ever heard in my entire life.
That is the best reason for us to vote against it.
He's like, it sounds foolproof. We can't lose.
Morale inside him drops 10% every time you talk.
Yeah.
He turns nervously and says,
I'm in.
all right.
He tries to say dramatically, but he's already ruined the moment, so it's too late to be dramatic.
Pounds his fist on his knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The meeting breaks up. She gives you a time and a place to meet her at, where she'll bring you to the final coordinate. She's not telling you everything ahead of time, so you don't just go ahead and do it without her, But she's giving you a rendezvous where you can meet up with her and her boys, and then you'll split for a pincer. She'll distract from one side, come in from the other. And yeah, just to be clear, it's going to be real tight on a Leopard dropship with, 40, 50 people.
When everything breaks up, I'm gonna go and throw an arm around the pilot kid.
Yeah.
And be like, so you really think you can fly that thing?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I use my Star Console 64,000, just a couple decades old, came in on a dropship run before I was born.
What did you say your name was?
Oh, well, you're looking at the best pilot, all of distress. Name's Lucas.
Lucas.
Lucas Georgeson.
I'm Dex. Sounds like, you might need like a co-pilot. You think you could teach me to fly too, Lucas?
Yeah, man. When I'm on board, why don't you come up to the bridge and I'll walk you through some navigation. You can help me get up into space. You just kind of point upwardly, but I'll walk you through how the electronics work.
Sick bet. And he just gives him like the high five.
No. He does the boot,
Oh, yeah.
boot, and then a high five
Right.
afterwards.
Yeah. We awkwardly develop a secret handshake.
Yep.
On spot.
Yep.
And I walk off
Perfect.
with big dreams.
He's got big dreams too.
Big dreams and a small mind. I see now that we're a parallel between Lucas and Dex is like Luke and Dak. All right, I'm into it.
Perfect. Should be noted the Leopard only has 2 emergency lifeboats, so in case of emergency re-entry,
That
you
seats how
gotta be
many?
real careful about who gets in those things.
Yeah.
Is there anything you all want to do? Anything you want to say to your families? Anything you want to have happen before this kicks off?
I guess walking back to our convoy, I just mentioned to Jerry/Dad real quick that, there's no guarantee there's actually a dropship, right? And he says, yep.
Yep.
Could just be another scam to get a mech.
Well, son. Shoot first, ask questions later.
Amen.
What are they going to do? Hit us with rifles?
Dex imagines
There's a lot of
himself
them.
being shot by a rifle, and he's like, "Oh God." I'm the only one that doesn't cruise around in armor in this place.
Open air.
Yeah,
steamer.
you're the only one in an open air cockpit.
Yeah.
Even the family's inside of the RV, so
Yeah. He gets this mental image, and now he's just like, rifles.
Over my shoulder, I'm like, thinking twice about that swift wind, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
he's looking at a 26 movement speed and trying to figure out how high his evasion modifier is.
Yeah.
Keep the front towards enemy at all times.
Oh yeah, that whole 3 points of armor.
I got a machine gun. I'll be fine.
Oh man.
Okay.
Right, I do have a machine gun, right? That's like all I got.
You have a machine gun on the front and
And a
the
flamer
engine
technically on
acts
the
as a
back.
flamethrower on the back.
Yeah.
You got 90 meters effective range,
Oh, this says small laser.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
All right, well then that's what you got.
Okay. All
Not
right.
as good as flamethrower. I'm sorry,
No,
not
it's-
as good as machine gun.
Yeah, I would have rather had the machine gun. That's fine. Small laser's fine.
That's weird. I'm pretty sure that the entry says it has a machine gun. Oh, nope. Forward firing small laser. Don't worry. No one here has a machine gun, so you're actually terrible at dealing with infantry.
Damn.
You don't have to deal with ammo.
All right.
That's true too.
You're just going to take them out one by one at range with that medium laser.
I mean, let's face facts. We don't have to worry about an ammo explosion on that motorcycle. If it gets hit, it's gone.
That's true.
All right. That's what we've got for tonight, unless you have any other things. The battle will be next week. For
Awesome.
the second half. Perfect.
Sounds like a plan.
I like it.
Any closing thoughts about what we've done so far? I want to say that your time on distress will not end well, no matter how the battle goes.
Yeah.
This episode of Cattletech is about a dying planet and how you.
I've been in enough Arthur Perkins games to know the score here. I know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Nothing on
no.
distress ever ends well.
I thought it was really good, like very bite-sized, like sort of episode of a show, but I feel like it had a lot of, I don't know. I feel like we got to know our characters pretty well. I mean, I did. Like, I was kind of getting to know my character as we played because like I told Arthur before the show, I didn't really do my due diligence on this one, which is not a new thing for Arthur. So I'm sure he expected that to a certain extent. But no, I really enjoyed playing with you guys. It's been really cool sort of having you both be like these huge pillars of support for Arthur's Battletech community for all these years, and finally getting able to, you know, put faces to names and play games together. I had a great time.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience. I've never done anything like live stream before, so I was a little nervous going into it, but once we got rolling, it felt pretty good.
The Solaris Night Skies, almost all of them said the exact same thing, word for word. The exception of Pondo and Spoon, maybe.
I was nervous when I first started streaming with Arthur for the first I don't know, all of Okeanos, basically, right? That's the first show I was on. It took a long time. Poop. Yeah, well, that's what finally broke me, where I was like, fuck it, I could do anything now. I took an imaginary shit on stream. There's no limits. If they'll accept me after that, they'll accept me after anything. So yeah, that's why you could tell, you know, I feel like I have famously long intros on Arthur's shows, but part of that is like, that's my creative process to like calm my nerves, to prepare to like play pretend on the internet in front of a bunch of people, is to like just word vomit for 15-20 minutes at the beginning of a show to like get myself comfortable. Cause like, I don't know, I'm a pretty like textbook introvert. I don't seek out a lot of like social interaction. So it takes me I have to have like a runway to take off from. So like, that's part of the reason my intros are so long. And you can ask Arthur, even when we're on shows that I don't have a long intro, it's because I've been on the call already talking for like 15-20 minutes before we've gone live. So like, I don't know, that's just part of what calms my nerves, is gets me right. Cause I was real nervous when I started doing this a lot. So totally normal.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it didn't feel much different. I've been doing Dungeon Crawl Classic with my brother and friends, and we just ended a whole, I don't remember how many episodes it took to get through a Destiny playthrough, which was a blast. It was so much fun. And then we had
Warrior Destiny?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gamemaster has been filling me in on some of that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I like the mechanics of Destiny. Especially the what was it, the queue and the plot points system was a lot of fun, and just throwing the Gamemaster for loops with plot twists. But on here I had a great time. You know, it just felt like playing a game with friends, and that's what it's all about.
Cool.
For sure.
We'll be back next week for that battle then. I'm glad that you enjoy plot twists and being thrown through a loop, because I'm here for it. I'm working on editing one of your maps, so when you see the horrifying thing I've done to it, try not to cry too much. That's it, friends. This is the first part of episode 1. We'll see you, I guess, tomorrow for all of you, or the next episode in the YouTube playlist if you're not catching this perfectly live, and you know, play more Battletech.